I've been thinking about making this in black and white because this camera can't really reproduce my skin tone. I want to talk about ideas. Ideas are they're fleeting. A lot of the really interesting ones are just so fleeting, and it's not that they're rare. It's that they are common enough that they can be almost trusted to reappear. Except each time they're unique. And when an idea comes, you might think, okay, well, it's important enough, it's interesting enough that when I'm working on something related to that idea will come back from memory. It's so obvious that it will just kind of reappear out of the depths of your memory, and you'll forget it between now and then. You know every time you'll forget it. And you know you'll keep having these ideas, and it's managing these ideas is very difficult. So you kind of pin them to the notion of this deep memory. And even though it's happened again and again, and even though you have learned that's not true, that the ideas are gone, you keep trusting it. And you shouldn't. You really shouldn't. Because when in the future you're doing or acting on anything, those ideas aren't there for you. And when you're working on something that's been on your mind for a long time, you know for a fact that there have been little moments where questions have been answered, or when it's just been your idle time has been filled with thoughts of that particular thing. And you know that there have been these little moments somewhere. Like you have a little flag in your head that says ideas were here. There's nothing there when it comes time to actually fill that space. It's kind of like a version of writer's block, which is something I'll have to talk on at length at another time. And what you need to do is develop a system such that you can act on every nuance, but that's impossible. Most people, let's say, aren't retired and have the ability to wander around with a dictaphone, or in this case a mobile phone these days, or pen and paper, and taking notes is what they can do, and not and the idea that they can sit down at any moment and record a video, for example, if that's the thing that they do, or write another piece of a chapter, because people don't lug around that stuff. So note-taking is what we're stuck with. And taking notes is, it's weird. It's weird because people trust that bit of their memory far too much. So carrying around a notebook, and one of the things that I learned was it's kind of related to ideas and to recording and to flawed memory, and it's dreams. And dreams aren't very useful. But if you wanted to remember them, why am I hearing somebody's music? That's my headset. Why is there music playing out of my headset? Well, I'm not starting this over again. Hopefully you didn't hear that. Not that it was embarrassing music or anything like that. So, what was I talking about? So for dreaming, if you ever wanted to be more productive while unconscious, then you'd have a notebook, and every once in a while, if you have these moments of wakefulness, you just get up, you write down the kinds of things that you were dreaming about, and go back to sleep. And what you end up with is a kind of a superpower whereby you can hold on to your dreams longer after waking up, and you have some more interesting stuff to think about or to read about. And again, don't try to interpret dreams. That's not useful. It is possible to get really good ideas. So for writers, it's weird. They're not they almost never have plot. You might have moments of mood that would be really interesting if you could find a way to put them down as words. And for writers, if you're really careful about making this a habit, then you actually have the ability to write while you dream and to explore ideas. And it's not exactly like walking in a movie or anything like that, but there are pieces of stories that are in your dreams, especially if, as others, and again, another video, if you go to sleep with a certain kind of mindset, then your dreams will have more of that mindset applied. So you need to have pen and paper right next to your bed, and even if it means that you write in letters that are, well, let's say you write in normal size letters, but you don't know if you're crooked or not because it's in the dark, but you kind of give yourself that much space where you kind of like writing crooked, and it takes you 3 times as many pages to write whatever the heck. And even though you might think that you are ruining your sleep doing this, but there is nothing more energizing than waking up and having that. And when you wake up, you don't even have to do anything. You just write a little bit more, and you can walk away. And you can come back, hopefully later in the day, hopefully later in the morning, and read through them. And if all during the night that you have done, or all when you've woken up you have done, is write some bullet points down, you'll be able to go back to it and go, oh yeah, and write a little bit more. And it might be useful, it might be interesting, it might help you really love sleeping, as opposed to, it can be quite a chore. And you can use them as ideas, etc., as I've said. And if you walk around during your waking hours with the same kind of thing in mind, you have these moments. Your mind is constantly churning through stuff without you even wanting it, and you'll have these ideas that you'll just go back to sleepwalking, and the ideas will be gone. But if you carry a notebook around with you, if you carry pen and paper with you, you can jot things down, even if it's a bullet point, even if it's a keyword, which is very important, which I'll probably talk on again at some future point. Maybe I should be writing the things I say down. Maybe I should rewatch these videos, take these comments of mine, write them down, and actually make them videos in the future. Yeah. So carry around, it doesn't matter if it's a notebook, it can be one of these tiny spiral bound notebooks, or you can go to a thrift store or a dollar store and you can find like this, which is just like cardstock, and they're meant for, these little boxes where you have addresses on them or something or other. I got these because I had learned one woman would write down her major plot elements, would stick them in a box, would pull them out, and they would have like notes on each one, and she could visualize things easier by putting them in order, and that way she wouldn't have weird plot problems. I find I work a different way, but it was nice to experiment with this sort of thing. And so if you carry one of these things around, one of anything around, you can ritualize it by having it be like something beautiful or something expensive, something rare, something that was a gift. That is an excellent gift to give to a writer, by the way. It doesn't have to be rare or expensive. It can just be cheap and be functional. And sometimes this means more to that sort of person, if you are that sort of person, than something that you have to go down to the store and buy that's special purpose. And you can have different colored pens. You can have one of the multi-pens with different points. And just get it done. And you don't need to think too hard about it. You just need to use it. And it needs to become a part of your life, because your memory isn't good. Specifically, your memory isn't good for the sorts of ideas that happen without your, let's say, the ideas that happen without your consent. They are, again, more to speak on in the future, but there are the class of ideas which don't require you to have certain problems in mind even. It's not just you're working on something and the ideas come. It's not that you have been working on something, there is something on your plate, and you just kind of get some ideas that happen related to a topic that you will be working on, you have been working on, whatever the heck. It's just ideas out of nowhere that, and you need to be able to write them down, like dreams. And so, if you have no space, if you've got no money, you can still do it. You can get really cheap 3-ring binder paper and just fold it into. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter if it's embarrassing. If you need to like hide it in a messy room, it needs to have a home. So I could put like a clip on this. I could put a nail in my wall. I can hang this up on my wall and get it out of the way, and it'll be right next to my door and done. And if I wanted to, I could have like little paper clips, if you can see that, and I can use colored markers, etc. You can do all kinds of stuff. So write your ideas down, no matter what, get them, carry them with you. Then the problem becomes what you do with it after the fact. And that's probably going to be a video for another time. I'm going to have to think about that problem because it's one that I still have.